Update. My boss told me I was fired as an April Fool's joke. It backfired spectacularly. Original post. My boss told me I was fired as soon as I got to work. I laughed and walked off. I spent the next 2 hours shutting down my station and packing my stuff. I even destroyed my client list. Mine was the largest in the branch. When I got home about 3 hours later, he called me. Boss. Hey Z, where you at? I can't find you in the office. Me. You fired me. Why the heck would I be at work? Boss. It's April Fool's. It was a joke. Get back in here. Me. No. You clearly said I am fired. I'll be taking unemployment for a few months and filing a complaint with HR. He lost his mind, and I just hung up on him. It's not freaking funny, and I'm taking a vacation and riding the wrongful termination train. He's called me 10 times, and I think HR is calling me now. Now for the top comments before reading the update. And on that day, the boss learned what it truly means to be the April Fool. It was at that moment he realized he was the biggest fool of all. Enjoy your unexpected vacation. I sincerely hope between HR and whatever lawyer you hire, you get a nice fat payout and a better work environment in the future. A nice side bonus to this is that your boss is probably going to get mad amounts of grief from his bosses and from HR as well. We're proud of you, OP. F that joke, dude. Nothing funny about that, especially when the majority of these BS jobs are at will and you can be fired for no reason. I hope that company burns. You deserve better, OP. I know it. I was looking for a reason, and he gave me one, with pay. This is why I hate April Fool's Day. It's a day when people who are not funny 364 days of the year suddenly think they're hilarious. I had a manager. It was his first attempt at managing people who would constantly joke with everyone. But once he was promoted to manager, his default response to someone making a joke at his expense was to say they were fired. Trust me, it's a joke that is not funny 365 days a year. When you actually have the power to fire someone, it's not a funny joke. A peer or someone who definitely has zero authority to do so? Maybe. That could possibly be funny under the right circumstances. A peer or someone who definitely has zero authority. Bingo! Coworkers can be sarcastic with each other, especially if it fits the environment. But that's because they possess no power, so who cares what they say? I think where it starts is, managers take for granted the fact they can ruin someone's life. They're only told to maximize profits and never reminded they're managing people. I'm in school for social work, and half the schooling is just drilling into people that authority isn't a luxury, so much as a burden. You're liable for people. Your direct actions create a real and immediate impact on their lives. And as a result, professionalism is way more important when in authority. Plus, I think for a lot of funny bosses, it's not so much trying to joke around as it is reminding themselves they're in charge and can say whatever they want. Edit. Geez, thousands of replies and hundreds of DMs. I'm gonna fall asleep soon. I have a remote meeting with HR tomorrow, and I'll also be talking with a few other people in the company too. I'll post an update soon. Stay safe. Edit 2. I'll make an update in about 4 hours. Apparently, a chunk of my colleagues walked out after he yelled at a few of them last night. Boss has been put on leave. He also sent me no less than 72 messages via text and 13 voicemails, all of which I'm too lazy to look at right now. HR and another department lead have been talking with me since 7:30 a.m. Update soon. Now for the update. Alright, so after cooling off, talking with HR, some other team leads, and a lawyer for several hours last night and today, it looks like Michael is losing his position in the company and has been put on leave. He's being replaced by somebody from my team. The other people he ran off are coming back and getting a raise for staying. I am being shuffled to another team, getting a $5.15 raise and 4 bonus weeks of vacation. Starting yesterday, I need a break, so I'm going to use them all right now, since the company's already doing some rearranging and such. The team I'm getting, I will also be secondary lead on, and it's a team I've been trying to get onto for 3 years. Much better bonuses and clientele. So I get a promotion and a raise. The new boss is far less of a hassle and a lot more laid back. She went to great effort to get me to join the team she knew I wanted to be on, both today and yesterday, and gave me a lot more than I asked for. Michael looks like he's fired from what I can tell. He has a history of issues, but he got his severance from what I heard. My coworkers from the previous team look to have collectively complained and used it as leverage for raises. I think they'll get them too. It's weird how fast this all turned around, but I think I'll be in a better place for it financially. Some of the advice I got from here helped a bit, and I wanted y'all to know that. I'll drop a few updates. I'm still doing some coordinating and stuff at the moment. Looks like I'll be taking my old client list with me and merging it with a starter client list they want to give me when I move into the new seat. Edit. I also got a performance/goals bonus I was supposedly supposed to get in February. Not sure what happened there. To cover a couple of issues in the comments, this manager has had a series of issues, and I just found out some may have been harassment claims in the past. The guy wasn't fired because of me, but because of the damage he did to the team in one day and a history of issues. Also, my employer operates at near 100% capacity and functionality 7 days a week with team overlaps. We can't shut down without problems. Keep being awesome. Great to hear everything turned out well for you and everyone else. I'm happy they took advantage of the situation and got raises. The company would take years to recover from losing a whole team. Looks like someone higher up put together the cost of rehiring, training, and experienced personnel lost due to some a-hole's idea of a joke. About time. Easier to build up than to rebuild. This is an epic failure on a boss's end, and ultimately a win for both the company and the workers, especially you. Congrats on holding your ground. I'm glad your company sounds like they dealt with the actual issues appropriately and swiftly. The company was smart, turned a crap show into an opportunity to dump that idiot, restructure, reward the team, and build loyalty. Good on them and glad it worked out so well. Good point. Now it at least looks like they were watching out for the workers. Yeah, it's probably just CYA, but it sounds like everyone wins anyway, so take it. More places need to start understanding that the workers are more important than the bosses. Next story, update. Constantly try and make my job harder? I'll make yours take even longer. Original post. I, 28 female, work in insurance billing for a few big medical facilities in my area, and one of my daily tasks is to save and download remits from a program daily. I've been at this company for a little over 3 years now, and I know how to do my job, and I do it pretty well. There is this woman, we shall call her Jane, around 51 female, who is always trying to make things hard for me or get me fired. There's a set of 4 cubicles where I, another employee, and Jane sit, and there's a printer in the other cubicle. She's lied to higher-ups about me sleeping at my desk, wasting time, playing on my phone, just overall anything she could come up with to make me look bad. She's yelled at me for turning the lights off on her, which I really didn't know she was in the office because she always runs out first at go time. I apologized to her, and she just kept trying to go off and brought it into the parking lot. I just ignored her and kept walking, but that turned into a meeting with the office manager, my direct supervisor, Jane, the other employee, and myself. Long story short, I basically told her I didn't understand where all the animosity was coming from. I'd been working here for 2.5 years at that point. She looked at me and said that I got her in trouble my second week of ever being there because she told me something about a job I had no idea about, and I asked my direct supervisor, who was training me, after she told me how to do something. And come to find out, that's why she doesn't like me. I didn't go out of my way to get her in trouble or anything. I was just confused, so I asked a question. I did apologize to her in the meeting, but she just ignored me. Fast forward a week and I'm sitting at my desk when she comes up to me to say that she accepted my apology. Then she starts printing out Bible verses and scriptures to put on her corkboard about forgiveness and how it's not for the other person, it's for yourself. She's literally the meanest person that works here, but she's got that holier-than-thou mentality. That makes her think she's the best thing since sliced bread. I think I just needed to provide a bit of context. Now on to the malicious compliance. So, I save and download remits for a few different clients every morning. Mondays are my busiest days for this because I have to pull them from different sites and a program that sends them to us electronically. Jane does billing for one of the same clients I pull remits for. She needs the remits to make deposits and whatnot. It usually takes me anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 hours to complete this for all the clients. And because of what comes through Friday and over the weekend, she needs them first thing in the morning. Apparently, Jane has complained that I keep messing them up when I save and download them. I know I'm not. I triple-check myself. I received an email last week stating that Jane was complaining again, so I decided Monday would be the day that I did things a bit differently. I came in, and instead of doing Jane's client first, I did the other 4. Then I took my time with Jane's because I had to make sure every letter and number was 1000% correct, because she needs them to be. I didn't want her to be upset, haha. She was waiting for all the remits for a deposit, so instead of the deposit getting done at 8:30, it just didn't get done until the next day. I've been doing hers last since Monday, and I don't know if anything will be said about me taking longer, but I have to do as I'm told and make sure it's correct, right? Laughing my butt off. Now for the top comments before reading the update. A meeting with the office manager, my direct supervisor, Jane, the other employee, and myself. Long story short, I basically told her I didn't understand where all the animosity was coming from. Did you bring up her constant lying to get you in trouble? From what you wrote above, she admitted hostility, which would be an admission of her making a hostile workplace for you. That was the time to air everything out. I did. I'm usually a very quiet person, and I'm used to people just walking all over me, but I said what I wanted to say in the meeting. I did ask her why she was doing all of these things, and she just sat there the whole time like she was annoyed and didn't answer the question. What would happen if you CC'd them to your or her supervisor, so that they could see themselves that there are no errors? I usually save the files to specific drives for my coworkers, but that's a great idea to screenshot what I save to cover my own behind. Always CYA in such circumstances. Over time, this could lead to enough evidence to get her reprimanded or fired. The burden of proof is on her, not you. Please help me improve by showing me the specific mistakes that I have made. I had a similar situation, and they showed me the error. I was like, huh? That doesn't look like the kind of error I would make. Things were formatted differently from how I do them. Then I asked them to right-click the cell and show the edit history. It was them who edited it last LOL. I nodded my head and asked if they would stop using my initials for their work. Now for the update. So, as of today, Jane is no longer an employee at my company. Since posting here, I've continued to take my time with the remits. But I ended up taking a couple of days off because I was sick. Last week and this week while working with her, she made multiple backhanded comments about me being sick and had another employee drown the office with Lysol. I got fed up and went to HR, and next thing I know, Jane is being called in there. I heard yelling, and Jane came back to her desk and packed it up to leave. She walked out and quit. I think my using the words hostile work environment and lawsuit played a part in it. I wish I could say this was because of my malicious compliance, but I'm happy with the result nonetheless. I really feel a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and I don't even care if my workload gets a little bigger with her being gone. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who took the time to read my post and offer advice to me. I learned a lot from you all. Big hugs. Congratulations! Keep up the good work in a spine made of titanium. This is the first time in my life where sticking up for myself has gotten me somewhere, and it's a damn good feeling. That's that even though your workload is bigger, the work gets done faster and easier, making it feel smaller. People like that have a tendency to grind productivity to a halt, and taking them out of the equation makes everything smoother. Careful though, not only will you be on HR's radar, just in case it wasn't one-sided, they'll look at you, but when you easily do the extra work without her there, they'll try to pile on even more. Last story. My boss told me to stop answering my old staff's questions and helping them. Before I retired, I was a manager and programmer in a department located in the US. I would program, manage, assign projects, create timelines, answer questions that my staff had, etc. The company I worked for decided to consolidate the US and UK programming departments, and the new boss decided to have only managers in the UK oversee the programmers in the US. This meant that I was only supposed to keep programming. I had the most experience among all the US-UK programmers and no longer needed to do the management side of things, but I still got the same pay I used to. Due to a 6-hour time difference between the US and UK, that meant there were only 2 or 3 hours each day that we overlapped. This left the rest of the day for my old staff to either wait until the next day to ask their new boss, or come to me and I could answer immediately. The latter made more sense so they could keep working, but eventually the UK managers complained to the US-UK boss that the US staff wasn't coming to them for help and were still coming to me, which the UK managers were having a conniption about. My boss told me to stop helping my old staff when they asked me questions and that they needed to ask their new manager. So it was time for malicious compliance. I went back to only programming, and when my old staff came and asked me questions, usually in the afternoons US time since the UK was done for the day, I told them I was told to no longer help them, and they should ask their new UK manager the next day, or send their UK boss an email with their question. I told them it was time for malicious compliance, since the US programmers knew exactly what would happen. So my old team started drowning their UK bosses with questions, problems, etc., and then had to wait until the next day or two to get answers. Within 2 weeks, the US team was missing deadlines, and the UK managers had to answer for why their team was missing deadlines. After a couple more weeks, my boss and the UK managers came to the realization that, due to the 6-hour time difference, there should be a manager in the US, which is exactly what I told them weeks ago. Finally, my boss asked me if I would like to be a manager again, and I told her I was happy just programming and didn't need the other work. They ended up giving me a raise in order to get me to go back to managing the US programmers. New manager says, according to my lack of experience, no common sense, and this spreadsheet, this is a great idea. That's the thing. She had almost as much experience as I did, and had worked for the company for longer than I did. But the company trying to consolidate all of the global programming departments into one is what totally messed things up for her. She was an excellent boss, but the problem was her bosses, the VP level. Managers never seem to realize what will happen when people need to wait for an answer to something from coworkers on the other side of the world. Senior management rarely seem to have any idea what actually happens in the companies they run. This is partly because they have made people too afraid to tell them the truth, and partly due to arrogance and incompetence. I think they tend to manage by Excel spreadsheet versus seeing how stuff actually gets done. I've been on teams that have had to integrate with other teams in Europe, Ireland mainly, the Philippines, and India. You always need to have someone in every time zone who can make managerial or stakeholder decisions. Otherwise, you'll always encounter situations where the team is suddenly dead in the water until someone wakes up in another country.